Hello, everybody. I am here today with Kelly, the famous Kelly, and she is our real estate expert. So I'm here to answer or to ask her a few questions, and she has her professional, awesome answers. So the topic today is buyers, and specifically heading into the spring market of 2022. So Kelly,
Yes.
I keep hearing, excuse me, I keep hearing the statement, this market is crazy. So can you break that down for us and tell us a little bit of, when people say that, why do they think that?
They think that, I think probably because it's true. If you are a seller, there will be an incredible number of showings at your house, which is great for sellers. I talked to another agent in our office just the other day, and he said that he had just a 2-hour window available for showings one day this week, and he had 20 some showings scheduled during just that 2-hour window. So, so it is crazy in that way. And it's basic supply and demand. There's a shortage of inventory, shortage of houses, and an overabundance of people looking to buy and to get into those houses. So it's not unusual to see 100 showings over a weekend period. If the house is priced right, it still has to be priced right, even in this market. But if it's in good condition and it's priced right, it's going to be there's going to be a lot of demand for it. So that's great as a seller. As a buyer, of course, that makes it more difficult to get your offer accepted, to have your offer stand out amongst, in recent within the last week and a half, I have had a buyer be one of 9 offers, one of 24 offers, I think, and one of 46 offers.
Okay.
So, you have to, as a buyer, have a way to make your offer stand out.
Okay.
So it can be tough, but it's certainly doable.
Okay, cool. And we'll get into how we should make aggressive offers and stuff like that. But thank you. That breaks it down well. Can you give us a little bit of a recap of what the spring and summer market was like in 2021, and what are some of the challenges that buyers faced in that market? And do you see us heading into a similar market in 2022?
I do see it being similar. Last year's spring and summer market was like this, and I feel like maybe not quite the, I don't know, frenzy is the right word, but not quite the frenzy that we're having right now.
Okay.
But it was really, really busy. And, this, as we go into the, deeper into the spring and into the summer market, we could get into a position where it's even busier than it is now. But last year at this time, we had record low interest rates, which obviously is awesome for buyers and for sellers, because as a buyer, you have more buying power when the interest rate is lower, and then that also, of course, is passed along to the gain of a seller, because you've got more people who can afford more house.
Right.
So there was a lot of the same challenges at this time last year as we're having now.
Okay.
Interest rates have ticked up a bit, but even with that, it's still a great time to buy. And I think I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but it's still a great time to buy. And we're going to put a chart in the comments of this video that talks about inflation and how things have changed. For instance, this example is 1989 to 2021. And I'll just give one example here quick, and then you can check the comments. But for a car, in 1989, an average car was $15,350. With inflation between then and now, we should be paying about almost $36,000 for a car. But the reality of it in 2021 was that an average car would cost about a little over $46,000. So that's a 30% change from 1989. So we are paying more for cars right now. Gas is the same thing. Wages have gone up. The price of homes has gone up as well. But the key here is that because of lower interest rates on mortgages. In 1989, the average mortgage payment was $825 a month. With inflation in 2021, it should have been $1,915 a month for a mortgage payment. And in reality, in 2021, it was only $1,455 per month for a mortgage.
Wow.
So we're about $500 a month lower than what we should be if that inflation was the same across the board as it is for all these other items. Now, I believe that $1,455 a month is just for principal and interest. It doesn't have taxes or insurance or anything in there. So, but that just is proof that this the lower interest rates right now, even though they are nudging up a little bit, they're still like the equalizer in the whole thing. That it's keeping mortgage rates or mortgage payments competitive. And certainly, you know, if we had I don't know what you can even get for rent for these mortgage, mortgage payments that we're talking about right now. Rent is super expensive as well. So you might as well own your own home instead of paying off someone else's home.
Right. Yeah. No, those are all great points. Okay. So my next question is, what is your reaction to the comments so many people have been making when they say, I know we're on a bubble and I'm waiting to do anything, buy or sell, until I'm going to wait for the crash?
Yeah. I would say, and economists are saying, and I've read many articles of people in the know saying that this is not a bubble. Not that this is necessarily going to last forever, but it's the bubble is not going to pop because there's not a bubble. Yeah. People have record amounts of equity in their homes right now, where back in 2008 or 2007, 8, 9, those years when that bubble did pop, they didn't have equity. People didn't have anything. They bought their homes with zero down, and that's not the case anymore. Banks are more stringent, and mortgage companies, you have to qualify. Yeah. So things are very different. It might feel the same as far as what the prices are doing and things like that, but it's a very, very different situation. And again, people in the know are saying there is no bubble. It's not going to pop.
Yep. Okay. Good to know. All right. So even with all of these challenges that buyers are facing right now, why is it still a really, really good time to buy a home?
The biggest thing is, well, first of all, there's never a bad time to buy a home. There are, I don't know the numbers. I was just in a meeting yesterday and we talked about this. There are record numbers of investors buying homes right now. And if their big qualification is that the home has to cash flow. And so even at these record high prices, they are getting properties to cash flow. So it's just, even though prices are high, interest rates are still low. Yes, they are higher than they were at this time last year, but they're still historically low. Yeah. Those were record lows last year, and we may not see those again for a long, long time. But yeah, it's real estate is always a great investment. And so it's always a good time to buy, but especially now with interest rates still being low.
Yeah. We were in a meeting yesterday and somebody kept saying like that song, buy dirt. It's like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Buy dirt. Absolutely.
Buy dirt. Yeah. All right. So what are the expectations of buyers right now? We're hearing things like if you want to get your offer accepted, you have to waive inspections and go crazy over asking price. Is that true? And as a buyer, what are some ways you can have or that you can make an aggressive offer in this market?
It really, that's a great question because it can be difficult. Because again, if we're seeing hundreds of people looking at the same house, not everybody's going to offer on it. But again, back to the 46 offers that my client was a part of a week and a half ago, I think there were like 146 showings, and then 46 of those turned into offers. So, so it is competitive. There are things you can do. First thing starts with the agent that you're using, the realtor you're using. Yep. I always call the listing agent and just try to build a rapport. Find out what the seller's needs are. Do they have a flexible closing? Do they need to close on a certain date? Do they need to rent back after closing? Is that something that we can, as a buyer, does a buyer have that flexibility to give that to the seller? So there are things other than just the amount of money that you're offering for the house, but obviously that has a huge impact too. Regarding one thing that we can do to make our buyers' offers look stronger is some trouble we run into. Say for instance, a house is priced at $350,000. If a buyer goes in there and offers $500,000, sure, that sounds great, but the bank it's not going to appraise for $500,000. So then you're going to have an issue. So we always have to be aware of what will it appraise for, not just, what is a buyer willing to pay.
Yeah.
So one thing we can do, if a buyer has extra cash, especially if they're coming from another home where they have equity, they can offer up an appraisal gap. Meaning, again, say we've got this $350,000 house, someone offers $375,000 on it. What if it doesn't appraise for $375,000?
Right.
We could have a buyer say, if the house doesn't appraise for sale price or higher, then we as the buyers will bring $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to the table to bridge that gap. Some people even have the ability to say, we'll just cover the gap no matter what it is. So, and that's something that not everyone can do, but if you can, that's a way to make your offer look really strong. Do you have to, does the appraisal come in low always? No, of course, not always. So, so maybe you won't even have to mess with that or trigger that appraisal gap. But it's something that a buyer can do to make their offer look a little bit stronger.
Okay.
Ask for as few contingencies as possible, and one of them is the inspection contingency. I will never tell a buyer of mine that they can't have an inspection. And at that same time, as a messenger of the market, I need to let them know that it's really tough these days to get an offer accepted with an inspection contingency, just because there are so many people who are offering without them. Again, we go back to 46 offers, or even something not even that ridiculous, but more the 9 offers that my client offered in. It's tough enough to get your offer accepted as it is with 8 other people offering. 8 people walk away empty-handed after that house goes off the market. And so, unfortunately, not asking for an inspection, you will have a much greater chance of getting your offer accepted. That said, there are options. We can. I'm doing a showing tomorrow where we're bringing an inspector with us. And is it going to be a full 2-hour inspection? Nope, but it's better than nothing.
Right.
And he'll take a look at the foundation and the roof and the mechanicals, and just kind of do a relatively quick visual to make sure that everything looks good, or the major things look good. And is it as thorough as a regular inspection? Nope. But it's better than nothing. And after you buy the house, after you get in the house and get your offer accepted and you've moved in, have an inspection then. There's nothing wrong with having one then. Obviously, you can't go back to the seller at that point asking for repairs.
Right.
But it's a way to learn about the house and find out things that you wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And those all sound like great things that in this competitive market.
And the other thing too is cash is great if you have a way to get that cash. If you borrow it, there are programs, all kinds of different products out there. If you're someone who has to sell a house in order to buy a house, there's programs out there to help you to be able to buy without selling first. If you have questions about that, ask. But there are workarounds, and we just have to get creative.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You touched a little bit on this already, but I just want to bring it up again because I think it's really important for people to understand that even though the prices of houses are high right now, the interest rates are still so low. And like you said, it's, the interest rates right now are kind of the equalizer in this market. Right. So will you just touch on again really quick on, even though the prices are high, the mortgage rates are, and the mortgage payments are still, manageable.
Right. Yeah, so because of those interest rates being so low, I should have gotten an update before we did this video, but I know that for a while it was like when we were talking about this yesterday in that class, for every $1,000 you go up in sale price, it's like $7 a month or something like that in difference in your monthly payment. So while $10,000 or whatever sounds like a big amount, and it is, when you're talking monthly payment over 30 years, it can be minimal.
Right.
Something to talk to your lender about, and that sort of thing. But yeah, the interest rates make a huge difference when you're talking 4% over 30 years versus even 5 or 5.5 or 6. I mean,
right.
that's a huge number in the end of interest that you're paying over the life of the loan.
Yeah, and I heard yesterday in the class that we took too, somebody say, you ask your buyers, what is this house worth missing out on? If you would have went $5,000 over, and that would have maybe been $45, $50 more on your mortgage a month.
Yep.
Is that worth it to you?
Right, exactly. Yeah. What is the house worth to you? And if you're looking at, again, a $350,000 house, and you say, okay, $375 tops. I know there's other offers. This is only worth $375 to me, and you're fine losing out. Or if you do lose out, you're okay with that because that's as much as you were willing to pay. Great. That's a great position to be in. If you find a place you love and you don't want to miss out on it, yeah, think about what is the price that if I found out that I missed it by $100,
right.
$5, whatever. What is that dollar amount? And would it be worth losing it over that dollar amount? Now, typically we're not talking about $1 or $100,
right.
and when we're
right.
looking at that. But if it's $5,000, which again is not a small amount, but when you're talking about $5,000 over 30 years, it's kind of a small amount. And do you want to lose this house that you absolutely love, that's perfect for you and your family? Do you want to lose that over a couple dollars a month and $30 or $5,000 over 30 years? So
yeah.
So it's and that's kind of where a good realtor comes in. I had a client one time tell me, you're so good at bringing me back down to earth. And I said, well, it's your job to be emotional about this, and it's my job to be logical about it. And to people get caught up in I love this house, or concerned about things, and it's my job to bring everybody kind of back around and to reality, and what does this really look like, and what does this really mean, and hopefully that helps people to make the right decisions.
Yes. Yeah. All right, last question. So many people are kicking themselves, it seems, for not making the move or the decision to buy or even sell from last year. Would you say that this market we're headed into is kind of a second chance for people that are feeling that way? Yeah,
I think so. I've heard of other realtors having clients last summer that said, oh, you know what, this market isn't for me. I'm going to wait till things calm down, or till the bubble pops, or whatever term you want to put on it. And now things have not gone that way. They have not slowed down. They haven't, equaled out or anything like that. And now they're like, okay, shoot, now I guess we better do it. And now they're paying more because prices are higher. And also, interest rates are a little bit higher. So yeah, I feel like it gives people, anybody who thought about waiting, now is definitely the time. Don't wait again. And none of us know the future. Is this going to continue to rise? Gosh, honestly, we hope not. We would like things to kind of calm down and even out a little bit. And for sellers, now is still the time to do it. I don't want to use the word guarantee, but you will more than likely have multiple offers on your home, and it's worth more than you probably think it is. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Kelly.
Of course. Thank you, Toddy, for the wonderful, insightful questions. If you have any questions about buying or selling, please always, I'd love to be a resource. Even if you're not looking at doing it right away, or if you have questions, should I do it right away? I would be more than happy to talk about this and what I'm seeing in the market. And if you're thinking of selling your home, I can give you an idea of what it's worth, what the market would pay for it, and what you could walk away with after the sale to put as a down payment on your next place or a second place or whatever. So move someplace warm. This is crazy.
Oh my gosh, I know. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much again, Kelly. And we'll be back doing more of these videos, so that's exciting. And don't forget to check the comments for this little inflation sheet that we will attach down there. So again, any questions, reach out to Kelly because she's the best in the business.
Thanks, Ty.
You're welcome.